Operator band's coming in, and it's Villa to seal the deal. If I had to tell you, or if I had to ask you right now and put you on the spot, against BDS, is it going to be W7M or is it going to be Team Liquid? What's your guess?
Oh boy. My heart says Liquid, my brain says W7M. They've been so dominant time and time again. And I honestly, if they were kind of hesitating a bit on Skyscraper, showing a bit of weakness, I would side with Liquid, but they looked like they were playing it 100% despite what happened on Clubhouse. So I gotta go with my brain on this one. I gotta go W7M, but I hate to say it because Liquid, I mean, they're always so close, but never quite there. Since 2018, Team Liquid have had 3 different finishes in Tier 1 in 2nd place. They've had 3 different placements in semifinals as well. And they've had 2 placements where they go between 5th and 8th place. They get so close so often, but they never quite make it. And when they do, they don't even win. So it's such a tease. I would love for Liquid to make it all the way, to show that they still have what it takes. But I have to say, it comes down to Nesk. If Nesk fails to show up, there's a pattern. And I hate to bring it up, it hurts me to say it, but whenever, and you kind of spoke on it earlier, Parker, on Skyscraper, whenever Liquid has these really defining moments, a map, a round, a victory, a match, whatever the case might be, Nesk seems to be hiding. He's not there taking these things away for his team. It's Paolo in Clubhouse. Hands down, single-handedly just did so much work. It was nobody on Skyscraper. It has to be someone on Villa, otherwise we know what happens. And it's going to be a W7 victory in that case.
Nesk long been one of the leaders on this team. Team Liquid made, oh,
no.
Speaking of Nesk, denied access to spawn into this round. Peaked immediately by Herds, and W7M have the first pick in the first 10 seconds of round number 1.
Confidence, aggression, and again, this is one of those, I mean, we can almost just scratch this round off the board. You would rather forget about this if you're Liquid. We're like, let's go for a rehost, start it over, go next round, whatever, because this is just not how you want to start out mentally. Because already now, W7M, they're just in the driver's seat. They got you exactly where they want you. Big open map, dynamic in the way you can play it. They got the mirror windows. Paolo almost got the kill, he's got to chase it.
It's the hop in as well. There's a mirror window there, the Goyo.
Wow.
Fading back, KZ still has his life intact. Out goes a flashbang. Palu goes for a desperation vault with limited intel. KZ still wins the engagement. It's a battle of the Titans between 2 of the best players in the world at the moment, and Palu comes out on the wrong side of it. Still half the round to go, and W7M can sit pretty on their defense. Oh, resets, doing lots of damage to Herds. That's payback for what he'd done to Nesk earlier on in the matchup. Through the soft wall, KZ still in a precarious position. Immobilized for a second as the EE1D goes off. KZ sees long range, but he's in a bad spot.
He's out somehow. I see why Paolo went for that chase, because, I mean, when you lose this to a spawn, you gotta, just go for it. The round is already in a bad position. KC has leveraged so much time for this position. He's looking to go aggressive again, opting for that flank instead of falling back. It's a free pick on Zolagonis. Things are falling apart.
How is KZ allowed to do this down below? That's the real question. Spam through the walls, it'll open things up. He's still in such good spot. Now it's Ask who gets collapsed upon by Volps. The Vectors hitting their marks. W7M have now won 8 rounds in a row.
I can tell you how Casey did that. He's the #1 rated player throughout this entire event. Also, weird flex, but okay. Intero used to be an award-winning server. He once won an Employee of the Month award at a fancy restaurant in Canada. He won't stop bragging about it, and we're already sick of the story. Award-winning server. That's quite an achievement, actually.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I believe it. Honestly, I'm not really tired of hearing it because you don't brag that often about what you did before being a caster.
We were asked about these fun facts, and I have lived such a painfully boring life. I really don't have many to contribute.
It's not true.
Certainly not one as interesting as the fact that I get overcome with anxiety should I be late for class, but...
I mean, you don't get anxious about being late ever, Parker, because you're always 5 minutes later than the rest of us because you're that VIP status, you know? Because you will show up when you're needed, not 5 minutes before you're needed.
There's like, the whole group will be late, and I get blamed for it.
I mean, okay, that's true. Actually, that's true.
I'm the one that'll get yelled at.
Yeah, when we were at the NAL...
You guys were supposed to be here 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're like, it was Marcus' fault.
I literally was on time. Don't look at me.
Nah, you're not late in the sense that, you know, things that go poorly because of it. It's just that you realize that you're not always needed on the time that you're told, so you show up a little bit later. There's no shame.
On my time.
Yeah, on your time. We're on your time now.
W7M playing last map and so far round number 1 on their time, Nick. First round, we didn't really touch on the operator bans. Ace and Ying removed from action. I mean, the mute makes a bit of sense. Valkyrie is very standard, but there's a lot to dig into here. 30 seconds into round number 2, and we can spend some time going over the 3 operators that won't be played that don't exactly have the highest ban rates.
Yeah, I mean, the Ying is a target ban onto Team Liquid's execution operator. We saw that being utilized kind of on both Clubhouse and on Skyscraper, although not with that much success. And then Ace, that ranged Heartbeat's target ban, forcing the attacking side onto Hibana. Arguably a worse weapon, but at least you get flashbang, so extra piece of utility. Paolo goes to the repel in, but the sound cue gives it away. It's a free kill for Hertz, and it's starting off in the wrong foot once more. Unironically, the Hibana actually is a phenomenal heart-breaching operator to bring, even though it's not that common. Whereas the mute ban, it just makes you able to drone and breach things easier. Nesk finds that kill we spoke about. He's finding some value on the board, but he's 1 HP now.
Dare from Volps, who was the hero of a previous round. Taken out by Nesk, still in this position, answered back by Hertz. Controlling and holding command out of 90. Down goes Julio to Lagonis. Hertz picked off as well. Liquid are boxing them out of the bomb site. It's all on the shoulders of JV92, but that beautiful crossfire from Liquid breaks the streak. Teams tie up at 1 apiece.
I think it's going to be a close Villa game, I have to say. I mean, statistically, we can talk about sides because why not? Let's do it. It favors defenders, 57% overall, so not a crazy situation there, but still an advantage. Of course, AVG and Kitchen leading the charge on win rates. Trophy is 3rd, technically 2nd because the other ones are tied for 1st. And Living Library being played 1 single time so far this event in 7 Villa games. And whoever played it, they won it. So 100% win rate. Statistically the best bomb site, one could say. This Dining Kitchen bomb site proved to be difficult in the matchups that we saw yesterday when it was Sonics against TSM. Capcan traps an issue, very big map, extend all around, and honestly, I think a lot of these rounds for the attacking side for both teams, frankly, is gonna come down to Nuke. Finding opening kills. As we saw Nested in that previous round, it brings so much value because of the sheer size and scale of Villa. I mean, the basement, there's no bomb site down there, but it's massive. 3 staircases up, hatches if you're Oryx, etc. Capcan, a very familiar operator for this bomb site, again, because of how much map space you're trying to soak up as a defender. His power's turn on Nuke this time. This is gonna go on the Buck duty instead, as he's needed for that verticality if Liquid were to go above.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
KZ's waiting for that window to get shot out in Astro with the Nitro Cell in hand. And there it is. Lined up perfectly. He gets away.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Julio down below is an Electric Claw. Looking to do some denial onto what I imagine is that triple panel wall from above. That's the one that leads from the bedroom in the statuary. Flash from Nesk as an E1D of Lion will go off. Hertz is able to get away from it as a logic bomb rings through as well. These annoying operators that Liquid brings for W7M do not really cause much of an issue, at least yet. No damage done to W7M either.
That's the thing, you kind of need to act upon these gadgets being utilized. I mean, they use them so Nesk can get out safely. Through a flashbang, Lion Charge, he jumps back out, he stays alive. So it's a passive usage of that gadget. But look, no one's helping Nesk roam clear this. Meanwhile, Ask, he's challenging the bomb site.
Nesk is the first death. Heard a call of what sounded like frustration. Entirely impossible to know what it was. Numbers being equalized and Liquid coming out ahead. They managed to get the down onto JV. This is far more like the Liquid that we are used to. But Volps with that shotgun seems to be on a whole other level. And now it's Ask who gets gunned down by KZ. Toxic Canister goes out. Just under a minute and a half to go. Both Palu and Resets below 50% HP, full HP on the benches of W7M. Sets them up quite effectively. Keep in mind, there might be Capcan traps still on the board. That'll kill both of these two remaining players from Liquid if they hit one.
Yeah, I mean, now this he reaches the read, gets the flank shot down. Last moves falls 1 HP, but a grenade! It takes him off the board as well. And Liquid, it looked like they couldn't do it in that round because they could not get into that bomb site. But they don't need to plant, they just get the kills instead.
Did a single player from Liquid get into the bomb site except at the very end with a million of resets barged on in? Certainly didn't seem like it. Liquid now get 2 in a row. They've got the lead here, and it's actually been an awfully long time since Liquid had the lead. Well over an hour of waiting and playing from behind against this W7M squad.
Yeah.
Attackers need to locate.
I mean, Skyscraper did fly by, but 7 rounds, commercial break, analyst test breakdown, we go on screen. It has been an hour plus since Liquid actually had the advantage until now, and it's gotta feel good, especially how that round played out. Nesk did not get the support that he needed nor deserved to clear that roam, but honestly, that didn't seem to be Liquid's focus, because while that was happening, they were applying bomb site pressure. And I will say, once Nesk fell early in the round, he immediately jumped onto 2 different flank drones. One of those drones got Palu a kill on that library flank later in the round. The second one spotted the member inside pantry, where Palu almost got the second kill later on. So there is value in losing a team member early on if you have a good drone network, and Liquid, they had exactly that.
The attackers bomb diffuser has been dropped.
10 seconds in the live action. Setup work still being done just to pretty up the bomb site for W7M. Back to Aviator games. This is where W7M won their only defense up to this point. The first rotation was Aviator Trophy and Kitchen. Palu almost gets lucky.
Lucky.
I want to say lucky, but I mean, Palu seems to make his own luck. You said the win con was Nesk having a good game. They put him on hard breach right now.
I know, like, what's happening?
And I mean, he still gets the job done. Shades of another grand finalist, and we can say that now, as Shaiko used to play that Hibana, as people remember.
Oh yeah.
Secondary hard breach on the team, but still capable of fragging well with both the Type 89 and the Bearing as that secondary. Another member of W7M is fed like lambs to slaughter as KZ cannot contain Nesk. And it's been the Nesk story over this last round and a half.
If there's one member you can get a kill on onto W7M, it's gotta be KZ. That's the biggest value factor. Because when he plays with confidence, he will find all these gaps in your attacks or your defensive side. And KZ's confidence has to be challenged right now for him, because they're getting shut down. Look at this! Another shutdown for Ask.
Nowhere for W7M to go. They're clearing all the players off of the exterior of the bomb site, but then still have to focus on the bomb site itself. Only one player from W7M sits in that position, and it's Julio. He'll hang on to those 3 toxic canisters as they gain greater value. Volps is close enough to get back into the bomb site, but he'll have to dare so through study or a run on classical hallway. Liquid have the man count to put somebody over towards 90 or to pinch from Model. Down goes that deployable shield that was looking at Model. So they can walk in. That forces Julio out of his position. No, he wants to take the engagement, and he does so. Vault in succeeding. Julio picks up yet another. Volps looking at the doorway. There's one by the window. He has to play with his food for but a moment as he dances around the doorway and manages to escape alive. Liquid find Julio, and it's a grenade from below as Ass picks up 3 kills on the round, and it's a 3rd round as well for Liquid.
It seems to go one way for these teams right now. I mean, the Frost Trap and Study when a jump in actually injured Lagonis and made things look a little bit dire for a moment there. But basically almost like a timeout in the middle of that round for Liquid, right? They find 2 kills off Nesk, they find that 3rd, then they completely let go of every single W key on their keepers. They stand still, they drone out the members, they get into comfortable positions, and they're gonna set up that plant. Lagonis is gonna jump in Study window, jump on in, plant on that black box or chassis position. 2 members of Liquid on top red has the bomb site cut in half, and the 5th member is going to be on the balcony covering the rotation from top main so that Lagonis cannot get flanked. I mean, structurally, from the top-down view, it looked like it was classic Rainbow Six Siege, played almost perfectly, but a simple Frost Trap really spun that out of control and almost made it look like Liquid could lose the round. KZ's been trying really hard to force these engagements, and Nesk, I mean, he's showing up, he's shutting it down. He played Heartbeat to 1 round and it went so well, and immediately, again, we changed the operators around. Seems to be the same trend for Liquid. They keep doing this. Whether they're failing or succeeding in rounds, they just keep changing on who plays what operator. Now Lagonis is on floors, resets on Hibana. Before it was Lagonis on Hibana. After that it was Nesk. It's madness to keep track of, to be frank with you.
So, the last time that these teams met on this map was map number 2 of the upper bracket finals in the Copa Elite 6. The operator bans looked quite similar. Ying, Valkyrie were removed on the side of Liquid. W7M banned out the Dokkaebi and the Smoke. Speaking of the operator that Julia was playing last round, he switched on to Castle and he is as good as Dad Volps, hunted down by Nesk. This is the vintage Nesk that we are accustomed to seeing, and he'll continue onwards as KZ meets his fate at the hands of the Brazilian god himself. Could it be? No. Only 2 kills for Nesk, but it's narrowed. W7M down to 1, and it's Palu there as the backup, the 1-2 punch for Liquid, and they seem motivated by this. That's their 4th round in a row, happening so brisk that I can't even get through what I was trying to say, Nick.
I can't believe my eyes. I mean, round 1 for Liquid was a completely different scenario than we're seeing the last 4 rounds. I mean, sure, Nesk got spawn picked originally, which prompted Liquid to just aggress in towards the building and chase down KC, who then overcame those obstacles and found 3 kills. But since round number 2 and going to where we are now, Liquid are just firing from all cylinders, at all angles, constantly. Nesk walks in top main into that bar, and you know what's happening? The member who's Casey is getting Twitch drone sapped while Nesk is fighting him, and he's looking out for this Twitch on the floor while Nesk just walks in and takes that free kill.
It is concerning stuff for this team. I was again going to reference these numbers because I think they should tell us what is happening and inform us of the drubbing that we are seeing Team Liquid put on W7M. This map's been played by both teams here in Jönköping. W7M, 7-3 over Black Dragons in yesterday's quarterfinal. Team Liquid lost to TSM on the final day of groups, but in all fairness, that matchup did not matter at all for Team Liquid.
No, they're already qualified.
They had already qualified, they'd gotten 15 points. There's no way any team in the group could have overtaken them for first. So maybe Liquid didn't take that map as seriously as they could have. Back in Copa Elite 6, as we were discussing when these teams met in the upper bracket finals back in October, it was a 7-5 victory for W7M on this map. Well, Team Liquid are already closing in on that mark of 5 rounds, which would mean that when that happens, W7M might have to win 5 or 6 in a row. That puts Team Liquid in mighty fine shape right now, and doing this on attack on Villa is equally impressive.
Saying a very vertical bomb site on AVG. This is very old school Villa actually, where you used to play this with a mirror and you can play below with like 3 or 4 members in C4 if they were to try and plant above. Liquid, of course, last time they attacked this bomb site, didn't get that 5v5 as Nest did get spawn peaked very early on, so we don't know their exact approach. But the downstairs hold from W7M is very much a focus for them. Liquid either gotta pick it apart, go elsewhere. They got the tools for it. Flores, Lion, 4 grenades. But again, it's all coming down to the entries. If Liquid can find an opening kill, they just storm through the map with that momentum. However, if they get shut down, they start slowing things down to try and find an opening somewhere else. It's gonna be a rotate. They say no. Go master bedroom. Nesk is there. He knows it's clear. He's drone. You see it through the map right now. They can storm on in once Nesk is off that cam, take half the map in control, avoid the roam game, and W7M, they can try and respond, but I think it's too late.
I mean, Nesk has been good enough to get a kill and then get traded out. which at this level, getting a single kill in a single round,
It's pretty good.
it's a mighty fine accomplishment to have.
Yeah.
See the average KD, and if it's a 1.1, then you're in very good shape.
Asking 90 already. He's been there for a while, actually. Just, again, holding that rotation and ensuring that W7M cannot make a play here. Liquid, again, they have half the map at their disposal. Astro Stairs and Neskis all the way towards 90. And now they're sitting tight, waiting for something to happen for W7M to make the first move or to find the opening.
Oh, there's W7M hitting the board first, a second as well. Ask and resets are taken out of action. Palu through the drone hole will light up the feet of KZ, but can't accomplish anything more than about 70% of KZ's life being removed. Oh, just behind that bookshelf. Nesk doesn't seem to know where they are. Look to the right. We hear the Mozzie of Julio. He does indeed see him.
Wow, good read.
Another is there as well. Liquid find 2 on the board. W7M just evading those players on the first floor, now falling back to the bomb site. Those are the last 3 remaining.
No more nades. I mean, Nesk has one in pocket, but he's gonna fall back towards that red staircase. The Goni's staring down to keep it buried and that laser gate. Palu, he has to find some value in study balcony because you cannot sit and wait for something to happen. You gotta be the one to make it work.
And Herds catches Lagonis, trying to swing from the door. They triple up. Liquid came close, but then fell apart all within the span of 5 seconds. And the last round of the first half, as the first round of the first half breaks to W7M, that whole middle portion going to Team Liquid 4 rounds in a row. And it sets them up quite nicely now to go on to defense here in Villa.
Yeah, I mean, Villa is quote-unquote defender-sided. Where that matters here, no one can tell. It could be that both teams are going to find success on their attacking side. It all comes down to how you go about these rounds individually in a vacuum. AVG, I do think the way these two teams played out is going to be the strongest defender bomb side. And it makes sense why both teams choose to start here. The reason why I say this is because that AVG has such a strong bomb site to hold itself, it's very hard to break. The crossfires you can establish, the safe positions at the bar, the vault, etc. With the Sami being open, I mean, you can make every area fortifiable, as you saw W7M do themselves. Of course, it's also no surprise that Liquid, just like W7M, they choose to extend out both below and across the map. We're gonna try and put out a fishnet and see kind of what you can catch, because somewhere on this map there's going to be members of W7M trying to find an opening. Oh, and Julio, he will go for the Monty to ensure safety for himself and his team as they approach the map. So they're gonna go master bedroom and clear from one side of the building all the way across. Now, Monty's a slow operator, so you gotta make quick work of both droning yourself in and extending out across the map. Essentially, what you gotta do is something that we call leapfrogging, where you have one member start droning, and once you get in the building, the guy who's very far away will get into the building, and the guy who's already in the building will start droning forward. That way you ensure that everyone's in the same-ish area on the map, instead of one person being on the bomb side and one person being all the way back in spawn. Because when you play the Monty, you want as many guns nearby as possible. You're already down one, as Monty himself is gonna have that shield in his hands instead of a weapon he can fight with.
It's been bullet sprayed from both these teams so far, but none that have hit their mark. Monty being walked in. Herds side by side with Julio. One of the first casts that I ever did with Brazil involved Julio on a Monte, and it is nice, or on a Blitz. It is nice to see him reunited with a shield operator. As I was talking about that, Liquid suffering the loss of Palu, and now Ask as well, as Julio will take matters into his own hands. The Mountain will move forward, unsheath his pistol and do some serious damage. Nest cannot outduel Herds. W7M putting in some serious work as they now try to damage the Montane as much as possible. Resets in brutal spot, and it's been a double trade. Lagonis, the only one remaining for Liquid, unless resets can be picked back up. And that's exactly what Lagonis will try to do. But is the coast clear? JV in this position, but Lagonis slaughters him. It's KZ to secure the final kill and put him into a 1v1 against Lagonis. He has an idea, an inkling, you can say. He'll shrug off that damage from the shotgun of Lagonis. KZ holds the diffuser. A minute to go in the standoff between the teams. Both phenomenally talented players. KZ, the top-rated player at the moment, He has to get towards the Aviator Games bomb site. He sprints in that direction. Lagonis hot on his heels. But looking at the angle, KZ swiftly removes Lagonis. And W7M pick up yet another round.
Incredibly intense 1 versus 1. So many ways those teams can play it. You can aggress, you can play passive, play with information or a sound cue, swing if you're confident. Lagonis got the timing right. The second KZ picked up the defuse, he got a free shotgun hit onto his back and back right leg. Doesn't kill him though, it just injures him instead. And what looked like a very convincing, almost flawless round became into a 1 versus 1 because every single member of Liquid, well, they were just throwing bodies at the Monty. Those were side anchors going all the way up in the fray, fighting with the roamers there. And I will say, it shouldn't have been that easy for the attackers because the walls were triple reinforced from statue into master bedroom, and there was no heart breach on the attacking side. Sure, Monty can walk in and grant you an opening here and there, but it was way too easy for them. Liquid did not have the crossfire established, likely because they weren't expecting the Monty at all. Julio's not gonna play it this round, he's chosen to play Hibana instead, but Volps will actually go from Dokkaebi onto the Monty instead, so the phone calls are not going to be ringing, so the positions of Liquid are not going to be exposed as easily, but you still get the Monty. Julio having a better game on the scoreboard than Volps could be one of the reasons why he wants to be enabled more in that fracking position, and then Volps just do the Monty work instead. I'm a big fan if that's the case, to just let the people who are shining KD-wise to keep doing so. Because typically when you play the Monty, you're not gonna find a lot of kills. Although, it can happen.
The gap between the teams. Once wide, now is tightened up. KZ playing better and better as this matchup goes on. Volps on the Montagne this time. Over towards Trophy and Statuary, they will go.
It's gonna be a quiet round as the pressure is building up. KC using the nuke to his advantage. Again, it favors a slow round. It keeps Liquid guessing as to where he might be, and he's gonna find one in just a second.
There he has it. Ask appears, but Palu was waiting for it. It's a game of whack-a-mole, it seems, as yet another player from Liquid pops up. I mean, you've traded out KZ. You said it before. If there is ever a player where you gain the most value from a single kill on a W7M, it's KZ, and with the way he's been playing on Villa, it's a good trade. Still leaves Palu and Nesk up for Liquid as well. So the two main threats from Team Liquid in play.
Oh, well, the Cactuars have buffed the reinforced wall to be, so you got a nade up and time it so it explodes to see if we can get it right here.
And he gets it.
That's big. That's the last grenade, the last way they could have broken that wall. Now Julio can be enabled, open it up, grant him a second access point.
Oh, the smoke of Lagonis just scoots past it. Manages to get away, find some safe harbor on that wall. Ness get an opportunity for a pick, but instead now he'll be blocked away by the Mountains, still in this position. Monty absorbing all those bullets. Impact grenades have denied the hard breach the damage that they needed to do. But Herds goes prone and takes matters into his own hands. The gunfire will hit Nesk. Advantage for W7M with 45 seconds to go. Volps will then take up more space inside of the bomb site. Amazingly, it's not the Montaigne who has the diffuser, it's Julio. So Volps doesn't need to be put in a vulnerable position as the Monty. All he needs to do is wait for Julio to get into the spot that Julio sees best. Both Julio and Volps taking some damage, as now that diffuser goes down, C4 goes out, it's not blocked. Both Volps and Julio go down for the count. And it's a 2v2 with Liquid making it a 2v1. JV92 moving up towards Statue, and he gets both of the kills. What the hell was that? W7M have now tied the game.
That's a snap and a half. I mean, Liquid, they didn't establish a, solid crossfire there. It goes both ways. Most clutches and Rainbow Six Siege comes down to a mistake somewhere in the server, and that right there is Liquid failing to establish the crossfire correctly, allowing just 0.5, if not less seconds. Look at that. It's such a tiny, tiny timing difference, but it's all he needs to make that work. Beautiful flick, great accuracy, and also got a great weapon against the SMG-11 itself in that long range. 4-4 tied up. I said it was going to be close, or at least I thought it was going to be close. Liquid, they were stealing the show for a couple of rounds, but W7M was striking back in great force. It's anyone's map for the taking, the final map in this best of 3. Winner goes to grand finals against BDS. Paolo had a great game so far. Nesk, same story for him. Great trade last round with Casey. Oh, we've lost a member, I believe. The W7M squad.
10 seconds to
And a
insertion.
second. They're just flying by right now. Off the board they go.
5 seconds to
2 left, 1 left.
Wow, what a dominant round for Team
It's a
Liquid.
fast one.
What a dominant round from Team
Got
Liquid.
spawn peaked before they even spawned. Of course, we will rehost that round. We're not going to actually play it on 5 versus 1. That would be completely unfair.
Do you remember the Let's Go rehost chant in Charlotte?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Just trying to make out what the crowd was saying there.
Some liquid chance, I believe.
Oh, there's a
There
Let's
it
Go.
is.
There it is. They're trying. They're not even trying to get in synchronization.
No, I think they're purposefully having like one guy started and then the other people go off. I think it's intentional. Oh, they're just bad at chanting together. I don't know. No, they're not. The crowd has spoken. When a pause like this arrives,
I mean, I'm trying to figure out if it's delivered as well.
I can't tell.
I liked when the Let's Go rehost chant started. The first one went out, and then the second person just did it louder. It's like you just said what I said, but you just said it louder.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes with jokes in a crowd as well. Like, you tell a joke, no one laughs. Someone tells the same joke, but way louder, everyone loses their mind. And that was kind of my thing.
I just said that, and then you just said it, and now...
Now they're laughing with you, not with me.
Well, yeah.
It's messed up, man. Give me some credit. A pause like this, of course, in this instance of being 4-4 a tied-up series, doesn't really favor one side. We can always make the argument if you're up significantly, momentum's on your side, you won like 3-4 rounds in a row, etc. You'll always fight that, oh, the team that's losing is gaining, like, they can chill and breathe and figure things out and come back mentally. I wouldn't give any team, or either team rather, the edge here. It's Liquid, W7M both playing good Siege. It's close rounds down to 1v1s. It's simple things, small decisions. It's clutches right now that has been the name of the game for round number 7 and round number 8. Both of those rounds was a clutch for W7M to bring the score back to a 4 versus 4. Now, because of the disconnects last round, we didn't really see the attacker repicks in effect, so I'm happy to see it now that Julio will once again, at least for now, opt for that Monty. And we saw Sonics use this crutch or trick, whatever term you want to put onto it, the Monty crutch. When nothing else works, attacker repick the Monty, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself winning round after round after round. And the thing is, the reason why they're so successful to play the Monty is because there aren't that many operators that you would play naturally that effectively fights this particular operator. Sure, you're always going to be in the smoke and defense, but that's really the only operator. That operator's on the bomb side. That's your anchor. You need to fight the Monty on the roam. That's why we talk about the Elad, the Lesion, the Echo, etc. And none of those operators are being brought out from Team Liquid. They can't really fight the Monty head-on because of this.
One thing I wanted to talk about is the similarities and differences with that Copa Elite 6 matchup that we saw between these two teams. It was a victory in favor of W7M. Again, the caster curse kind of comes in. I said, you know, whoa, it's 4-1 Team Liquid. All they need is a single round to match their total when they ultimately lost to W7M. Speaking of, Herds might be rewarded for his patience. He saw the body of one of those players from Team Liquid for a second. Still in that area. The very unique sound of the Montaigne pushing up. Herds missing yet another opportunity to end the lives of one of these Liquid players. Julia will absorb the bullets as Herds is waiting for a pre-fire, gets it on to Ask. Down he goes. Liquid suffering the first loss of this round, but they answer back. KZ, who's been the best player for W7M through this series, is removed from action. It's a 4v4 with just half the round to be played out.
And that's your pressure from a steady balcony. So the entire attack is on one side, plus that global gadget of line scan is off the board. That makes the Monty roam push less effective. But as I mentioned, Liquid, they have no good way to clear out this Monty member. And oh, Julio, he doesn't overstand.
Oh! Nesk in a rat corner, if you want to call it that. Herds punishes him for it. That information was relayed successfully. It's a shotgun watching the doorway as the nade goes in. Just missing out on taking the Rotero drone down with it. And there we'll go. These Kiva barriers being broken open.
This heavily favors Liquid. I mean, the bomb side's fortified, it's strong, you have no hop breach, you have the one flashbang, there's two flashbangs left really. You can't really plant versus... Actually, I take it back, there's no C4, no 6 babes. You could absolutely plant here.
Oh my. Volps toying with it, sprints on in, down goes Palu. Herds traded out as Lagonis picks up a kill, still in this position by Volt. Here's the diffuser going down. He has to contend with Volps. Where's resets to come to the record, or to come to the help? He was in a position where he could have done something, but he doesn't accomplish it. W7M shuts down Team Liquid, and they gain the lead.
Now there's a problem. The exact problem that TSM had yesterday. Liquid needs to either play around the Monty in case it gets brought out, or they make the risk of not playing versus the Monty and operators, and if it gets brought, they are doomed. A tactical timeout is being called from Team Liquid. I think this is the absolute right time to do it because I would want my coach's input on what he believes are the problems right now. Is it the Monty? Is it the communication, the decision making, the crossfires? I mean, go back to how Julia got taken down by Monty there. Nesk hit in the corner, got the Monty down, massive success. But there was a keeper barrier blocking Nesk's re-entry back towards the bomb side, so he was forced to fight that second member, and the moment he fell, his teammate broke the keeper barrier, allowing for a free entry back to the side, but it's too late. The play wasn't premeditated, or communicated at least, well enough for Nesk to have an escape once he got found out. There was no crossfire, and even if there were grenades on the attacking side to clear him out of that corner. So back to my point, either you try and counterplay the Monty with certain operators, it can be traps, it can be the echo, it can be verticality, C4s, etc., crossfires in general, or you play your own game and you do not believe the Monty is that big of a problem, you just keep bringing your stable lineup and keep things the same. I will say, the dining kitchen bomb site is a bomb site where Monty doesn't get that much value. It's much harder to roam clear, it takes much longer time, and again, you can play this bomb site much more vertically, so it doesn't favor the Monty. I'll be very surprised if W7M went onto that operator for this particular bomb site attack, which can bring Liquid to that 5-5 round score, and all of a sudden, it's a close series again. But then you gotta go to a different bomb site, and that's when my question will arise once again. What kind of operator lineup will Liquid bring if they were to succeed on this bomb site defense?
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Well, W7M started off on the wrong foot. They won round number 1, watched Team Liquid streak to 4 rounds. It's 4 rounds in a row for W7M to take the lead. Both teams using their timeout at this point. W7M have been perfect since using theirs. Liquid are going to hope for that same level of success. JV on the Twitch drone, going with the early scouting. Logic bombs go off too, and the drones that are in play from W7M will be able to relay that information. The remainder of their players as to who is upright and in what position. Another Twitch drone will go out from JV, as the first one had been quite successful on its voyage. Picking up on the Capcan traps is huge because, well, we've seen time and time again how teams can neglect to look down, end up getting punished for the fact that they walk through a doorway armed with explosives. Just ask TSM.
I mean, it's true, that did happen quite frequently. JV getting an absurd amount of intel from that singular Twitch drone. Second one also on the bomb side, but Lagonis, he finds both. Intel shut down. Ooh.
Nice play by Liquid, and that's the kind of start that they want. A jump scare for Lagonis as Herds is suddenly in the action, and Lagonis can find 2 picks. W7M's push falters, leaving Julio in a 1v4. 90 seconds left to go. Inside a pantry. It might as well be his tomb at this point. Liquid don't really need to do that much, just wait for him to get out of his position. A flashbang will go. Liquid does not swing onto him, but Ness pops up. It doesn't need to be a swing. Liquid break the streak, and now we have a tie game. All 12 rounds needed to settle the score on Villa. Overtime, exceptionally likely.
There is a question right now about bomb site priority. Liquid could go to Living Library, another vertical dynamic bomb site where Monty doesn't get that much effect. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen. I mean, Rogue, back in the Berlin Major, they played Bar Stage Clubhouse on the final OT round as well. So it has happened before. Now, this is not OT, but we are slowly getting there, or rather, we're quickly getting there. They will go Trophy instead. So the Monty question is on the board. The Arbiter lineup speaks to be more utility-oriented to deny lines of sight. Both the Keeper Barriers from Asami and the Castle Barricades from Lagonis, they can enable Liquid to play more aggressively throughout the map. So even if Monty were to be picked here, he can walk on in, but there's enough cover for Liquid and the members of the team to play around it. They're not going to be cut off by a single member on a window somewhere, because all of this line of sight will be denied, so it becomes a utility game instead. And look at the left-hand side of the screen. Volbs is going onto Monty because the bomb site is here. Now, more than likely, they see this master bedroom setup, they're not gonna go there. They're gonna go on the study side, because you always, typically with the Monty, wanna go from where the bomb site is not. And roam clear over, take that map control, set up the flying drones, get comfortable on the map, and then you can walk on into the bomb site with the Monty because you have that extended shield. That's a typical approach. However, W7M, they have a different strat in mind. They say we attack it head on. The thing is, with Team Liquid, no one's actually playing here. The Castle Barricades are there, the Q Barriers are there, there's no members. They might have been bamboozled.
You just got bamboozled. And there's another Keeper Barrier to go up as well. W7M will see these reinforcements that have been put up, and not just the physical reinforcements that the defenders have access to, but the Castle Barricades, providing a very narrow window into the defense of Liquid. Here comes the utility to see what is on the other side. Cooking the flashbang. There it goes. EMP goes in as well. No frost mats, but a brief bit of a stun on the side of W7M. They take down resets on the very first skirmish, and there's another. Liquid are just going to single file peek. Herds is making them pay for it. Grenade goes off and damage is done to Ask, as we had seen the Montaigne of Volps continue to charge forward. It's the halfway point. This time last round, W7M only had a single player up, Palu and Liquid. Palu and Ask of Liquid dealing damage. KZ and Herds are gone. You gotta think that they feel confident. These have been the 2 offensive threats so far for W7M. And the Monty is up, which means that Julio and JV are on an escort mission. Diffuser's being planted. It'll have to be a retake from Liquid. Smokes go out as well to distract and keep them away. Liquid boxed out of the bomb site to walk on in. Spam pings. JV sees the smoke clear. Palu obliterates him on that play. The Monty being watched by Julio, who sees the alibi of Ask. Julio tries to drop, can't do it. The Montaigne is left alone. Palu guns them down. And it's Team Liquid on series point, 1 round away from a grand final.
Team Liquid just overcame one of the most difficult things in Rainbow Six Siege, a retake when the attackers have bomb site control in a 3 versus 3 with the bomb already being planted. It's unheard of. I mean, we've seen teams try and attempt this so many times throughout this tournament, and I didn't really think it was gonna work out because it just didn't seem possible or likely, but it did, and it brings Liquid to match point. They're not gonna go library. They're disappointing me in this scenario because I think it's the right play to combat the Monty, but they say they know better. They're gonna change the Arbiter lineup though. I think Ask on this Goyo could be huge. Time is ticking down. When the Monty walks on in, you pop that canister, he starts taking damage. It's harder to plan for the attackers. It all really boils down to, however, what happens on the roam. In the last time that we just witnessed, Hertz got 2 kills in the first minute and a half of that initial entry onto Master Bedroom. Last time we saw Team Liquid defend AVG, same story. Team Liquid, they lose the initial gunfight and the second one follows along and you play 4 versus 3 or 5 versus 3, always playing from behind. If Liquid could come out ahead or equal on the first 2 minutes on the clock, whether it's trading 1v1 into 4 versus 4 or falling back earlier in the round and just keeping your members alive. Either way, that's how I would approach this round. Because when you start losing those numbers, things get really tough for you. And it's Julio and Volps trading back and forth on the Monty. 1 round at a time, KC on the line again with the Dokkaebi. They want to focus this roam clear with these operators.
Well, the story is the timeouts proving to be so successful for these teams. Oh, Herd so close to a first pick. Will get one on to Ask. W7M desperate to push to overtime.
It's a great start for them. And I mean, I guess the curse to be honest, that the early round has to go in favor of the defenders. Otherwise, that's when W7M they take control. That's what's gonna happen now. And look how much time they're taking. They know they got a huge pick. They've popped open 1 canister already. They can drone out every corner of this map, and they can do one Dokkaebi phone call to ensure that no one's hiding anywhere and just progress nice and slowly through this roam clear.
Herds is being given so much space and opportunity enabled by the drone work and intel gathering from his teammates. And with it, W7M have been sharp on these first engagements, even in the previous round.
Yeah.
Liquid were able to come back, but imagine how much more of a dominant round that is if you don't have Hertz pick up those first 2 picks.
You're right. Absolutely right. Paolo is in the basement, by the way, right now. You can see his outline, so he could go for a flank. He is the Vigil. He cannot get seen by drones when that gadget is active. That could really be one way for him to get back into the round. Go your canisters. The second Toxic Babe already popped with 1:15 to go. You have no C4s. It's hard. You gotta get a kill somewhere if you're Liquid.
Well, Gone 6 and both those pocket EMPs from the Dokkaebi have now been used. Not just hiding from the drones, the Vigil also invisible when KZ uses Lion's gadgets. Herd's another kill, but KZ is dropped. He won't be able to influence much at all. Paulu's made his way up to the top floor. Lagona's taking some damage, Nesk as well. Liquid getting in some lumps before taking a beating themselves. W7M with only 45 seconds left. And Liquid don't have a lot of HP. Paulu's still riding this out inside of Trophy, but he can't outduel JV. Lagonas and Nesk will need to work together to clutch this round and secure Team Liquid a berth in the grand finals tomorrow. Lagonas sees the Dokkaebi of Volps, can't do much about it. Nesk position inside of the bomb site. The Monty of Julio getting the diffuser down. Nesk blindly spraying in, more damage done to Lagonas, and Nesk stops it in its tracks. Suddenly 2 kills for Liquid has put them in great position, but the newest member of Liquid in the final 10 seconds has to clutch. The diffuser going down. Can he fly in under the radar? No, Herds prevents him. The clutch from Liquid won't be there. Overtime to settle the deal between W7M and Team Liquid.
It feels right. I mean, you see a dominant map 1 from one team, dominant map 2 from the opposite, and then map 3 goes into overtime. And if you had any strats left, anything in your pockets that you have not already showcased, it's time to empty those pockets right now. I mean, we see it, we can already assume it. It's gonna be a multi-force in every bomb site attack besides the downstairs bomb sites. Liquid, they have a choice to make and they've made it right now. They're gonna go back to AVG. They lost that, again, initial opening kill that KC found. That's gotta be it. It gave them so much value, so much control on that map immediately. And it really flipped things on its head. Same bomb sites, same operators, or the mirror rather is a new one from Palu. I'm curious to see where they put those mirror windows. They can extend either on the roam, they can extend downstairs. It's gonna be a vault mirror. It's a stable and a classic one at that. And if Liquid can hold downstairs control and W7 go for the same attack, they now have C4s for the plant and to counter the Monty. Now they don't have a pulse, there's no echo being brought, there's no information besides your eyeballs, but 2 C4s. One can get spent rather aggressively early on, see if you can get a pick. The second one you can save for that plant scenario. Because Liquid, they keep on having to aggress into the members of W7M, holding them stuck because there's no plant deny on the board. Those toxic babes are getting burned really quickly because of how fast W7M are acting.
Liquid's 2 chances on defense. They'll be given at least 1 crack at it. In terms of this map itself, the attackers having the upper hand on both sides. 4-2 for Team Liquid on their attacking side. W7M 4-2 as well. So W7M will be very confident and certainly very comfortable as they stay on this same side that they were just on. It's amazing that W7M have kept it so close on this half, especially since coming back in 4 rounds ago without Julio and KZ being able to do much. It's been Herds who has carried this team through those rounds.
Yeah.
Being excellent on the entry, picking up 2 first kills, and then also doubling up on them in the last 2 rounds. They fell short in round number 11, but it was good enough to carry the team over the top in round number 12, which is what has pushed us into overtime.
No hard breach from W7M. They cannot get rid of these mirror windows besides taking map control against it. KC with a great twitch drone gets shot down by Lagonis. Bombs is under watch. I mean, again, the C4s, that's where my attention is at right now, how they get utilized.
And Herds, once again, who was so good, distracted by a Banshee, but he can't do much in this round. Won't be able to get secured. Palu pulling out the sidearm. Volps is there in tow. Liquid answers back, though, and down goes KZ, still unable to find a kill through the last 5 rounds. JV watches the fire burn in front of him. Aviator just a couple steps away. Julio's the one with the diffuser.
I mean, they gained what they wanted, downstairs control, and they got that pick. 1C4 gone off the board, 2 toxic baits and 1C4 to go for Liquid.
Oh, Volps finds an opportunity as Lagonis in the middle of the bomb site goes for a rotate. It's ill-advised smoke that forces the defenders into a more favorable position. The nitro cell shot out by Volps, and there goes a grenade tossed away. Volps trying to isolate the Goyo, but resets is on the flank, shutting down Julio, and Ask seals the deal as Liquid move back to series point.
Again, it's the aggression from Liquid that really is making the difference for them because the utility is not working out. I mean, Volps played that round beautifully, snuck into office, shot down the smoke, toxic babe's gone, vaults up in the box, hits the C4 mid-air. The plan can now go down. When it comes down to a flank from Study, there's an oversight for W7M, and it got abused by Liquid. They found the opening right there. That C4 shot opens everything up, but Reset says no. W7M are going back to defense. They have not been there for a long time. And they choose, I mean, AVG's the place. Both teams, they want it so bad. Whether they win or lose this bomb site, they go back whenever they're able to. Any chance they're given. Same story. They're both playing the Goy, they're both playing the smoke, they're both playing the mirror. JV on the Kaid. I mean, it's a third C4. Big fan of that. Hot breach, not really being used by either team. I don't think we've seen any walls being opened up in the last, what, 4 or 5 rounds because it hasn't mattered. You just walk on in. Liquid, of course, they do not play the Muncie themselves, so them not bringing any hot breach can cost them. They gotta find kills for openings. They can't just force the way through the map the same way. And sure, resets on the Dokkaebi can help you get some information, try and get a kill with it. And if you can hack a phone, you gain very little value because there's no information, no bulletproof cameras, no echo, no maestro. So the phone call is the main goal and the main area where Dokkaebi will grant you any sort of value. One Meteor drone shot down the main stairs. They're going to try to sneak it on in to get that deployable shield, but it got stopped.
One more round is correct, crowd. Look at them learning math. They grow up so fast. Liquid have done the unthinkable by winning that defensive round. Again, attackers very much favored here, but we do see these odd occasions where it flips in overtime.
We actually do.
Suddenly, oh, the defenders actually win all 3 of their rounds, and it really goes down to who gets the extra round to defend or to attack, depending on what the vibe is.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting so many reps in right now on ABG for both sides, and we see these small changes in performance, right? Ask on Twitch to shut down the Guru, that's a counter pick. JV plays the Kaid, well, jokes on you. Liquid don't even play Heartbreach, so you're always trying to be in the mind of the enemy's team and how they are strategically going to play that next following round. And they both have a very good read on one another and what they're going to do.
Yeah, the Twitch is going to get so much value here with the Goyo canisters on the board. There goes another one, just by the model. You've also got the 2 black mirrors of Volps on Mira and the Kaid claws if you spot them. Oh, Nesk is making his own opportunities! 2 huge picks for Nesk because he wants a grand final, but there's 3 nitro cells for W7M. 1 has hit its mark. Liquid answers back with herds being felled. KZ has dropped 2. Volps will need the clutch of his life, and he starts with a single kill, but you ask and you shall receive. Team Liquid will move to the grand finals.
Not just that, but Nesk, he does it right. We asked him, where is he when it matters the most? And he gets 1 kill, the second to follow, so much control. And sure enough, he gets punished. But he gave Liquid the opening and the confidence to go forward as a unit and get that round.
It's been months since a team was able to defeat W7M, and they beat Team Liquid both times they came head-to-head in the Copa Elite 6. But who's laughing now as Liquid gets their revenge?